it is that time of day, commuting with Bertie. That sounds so funny. Conversations with Bertie. Commuting while conversating with Bertie while she has conversations with herself. Okay, so as y'all, I'm sure if you have watched any of my other videos at all, I always start off a little rusty. I start off almost like it's my warm-up. And then when I'm wrapping up the video, I probably shouldn't, but then I start to overthink things, and so I shut it down real quick. So, alright, so in today's commuting, a few things that I wanted to talk about. One, self-awareness. How important it is to be self-aware. And here's why. Because when you're self-aware, when you know all the things that make you tick, and what makes you do the things you need to do, or be the way that you need to be, and you have to maybe put systems in place. You're self-aware enough to know that if you do not put your tennis shoes by the door in the morning, then you will not get up to go run. Like, so if you're self-aware enough, then you'll set that up where other people are like, are you kidding me? How hard is it? I mean, just leave them in the closet. Not realizing, again, that whatever helps make it easier for you to do what you need to do to get to where you need to be, where you want to be, more importantly, but where you need to be. And that is all in self-awareness. And then setting up things around in your schedule, in your day, people in your life, and use them for good towards your life strategy. I've been toying with this idea for a minute. It's strategic selfishness. Oh my gosh, there's a rainbow right there. I would touch my phone, but I'm not supposed to. But there's a really pretty rainbow in front of me. Like, it didn't even rain this morning. But it's like, almost like it should be the other side. Anyways, okay. Let's segue for a minute. Something that I think a lot of us have lost is the all in the same things over and over again. We lose, when something is no longer new to us, it loses its essence. It loses its charm. It loses its fun, right? It can become annoying. I don't think rainbows will ever become annoying. But when you see it, it's accessing those feelings that you had as a kid before the world ruined us, right? However we choose if the world ruins us, and how it ruins us, and how it makes us bounce back. But feeling those same things again for the first time, or like it's the first time. It's all about recall. Because if you think about it, everything in life is based off of memory or a feeling and the perception we had at that time. And we don't know what we don't know until we actually know. And I'm going to say this. We learn by imitating. We learn what we see. Because what we see, we think is normal until we know different. And I'm going to tell this story, and it's the most basic story to kind of work through this. Okay, so what I mean by that, when I was 16, I rear-ended a car. All right, this man gets out, he's on his cell phone, and this was in 96, y'all. People did not have cell phones in those days. I certainly didn't, and if they were like the big ones, but he's on his cell phone. And he's talking, and as a 16-year-old, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh crap. My parents are going to be so mad. I don't know what's going to happen right now. Well, the guy gets out of his car, and he looks at his bumper. Then he looks at me as I got out of my car, and he waves. Like, it's good. We're good. You didn't hurt my car. We're good. And he left. Now that, in my brain, looking back on that story, he was in a hurry. He was busy. He probably was like, it's a scratch. Or maybe, it probably didn't actually do anything to his car. But so in my head, my 16-year-old brain, hey, I didn't go home and tell my parents, oh, hey, by the way, this happened. I'm like, yes, I got out of that one alive. So when somebody broadsided me in on my college campus, not broadsided, like he was in the parking lot and he was backing out and he didn't see me coming, so he hit me on the side. And I had my friend with me, and when I get out of the car and I'm like, I'm driving this beat up car anyway, and I don't know if I might have saw a little scratch, I don't know, nothing that probably wasn't already there, and he's freaking out, and I'm like, you know what, it's good, look, it's good, because I thought that was the way I was supposed to react, right? And I don't think my parents ever knew about that story either, but my friend looks at me and she goes, did you really just do that? I'm like, yeah, that's what some guy did to me. I just figured I'd pay it forward. So the behaviors we see, we tend to emulate. And that is why, too, it is so important. I mean, I know role models, if you're in fame and celebrity, and you're right. It is not up to you to how society acts. You are absolutely right. It is the parents' job first. First and foremost, it's the parents' job. But don't kid yourself. The kids are not watching you, you know? So you do have some say. That's part of your gifts, right? What do they say? To those who it's most given, the most is requested in return. All right? So if you have more knowledge, if you have more ability over others, you're requested to give more in return. So, I'm trying to think where I was going with that one. So yes, in return, so therefore, because you have been given this gift of being able to have this huge platform, then it would just, what harm would it do to just be transparent, not in a nasty way, but be transparent with your viewers and do things that will help them see the good in you too. Everybody needs a good role model, you know, and I don't think that that's too much to ask from people, just to be a good role model, because kids are watching all the time. I learned this. So I grew up Mormon, and in the Mormon church, there's from 18 months to 3 years, they're in the nursery. And generally, the people they call into the nursery, nobody likes the nursery calling, because you're just a bunch of babies who want their parents, and they've now been left with you. However, I loved nursery. And I loved it because those kids are so real and honest, and you learn so much from watching them trying to imitate and emulate what they see from others, other kids, other adults. You can just see. And then, of course, how all their emotions are so raw and real. Their excitement, you know, their everything. So, but in the nursery. So that's why I know that kids, you know, I was always put in the nursery because I always had a kid in nursery. So they were all like, let's put Bertie there, let's put Bertie there. And once they found out that I loved nursery, they just kept putting me in there. And I actually really liked it because then I could have snacks. I mean, hello. I did love the kids, but I also loved snack time. And so, anyways. So, I know this all started with self-awareness. And being self-aware of what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And that's why you gotta try on advice for size, you know. You don't have to take everybody's advice. But if it hits close home to you, if you're like, you know what? I like this in that person, so I'm gonna try to emulate that behavior. I like that my parents were so compassionate. So I feel like I, in return, emulate that behavior because I loved that. Where other people, you know, there's perspectives are so fascinating to me, and how whatever you have experienced in this life so far is all you have to draw from. Unless you're willing to open and listen to other people's views and perspectives and life stories too. Then you can gain other perspectives. The best way is to read. Just read. Read, read, read. 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 I can't even say that enough. Read. There's too much. And reading, you can listen to audiobooks. That's fine too. Whichever, that's reading. That's still getting a book done. I just really like the tangibleness of it, which yeah. Then I mark them up, put my own side notes. So English, everybody, I think if you read, oh, gotta go.